Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
We're back for episode 2. We're going to do a little Q&A on this episode. Let's just get right into it. Let's not waste time.
Let's do it. Question 1 comes from Guazeli Maria. How was it performing at Jingle Ball, and did you get to see artists you like perform?
Jingle Ball was a good time. It was super random and spontaneous, and I did not know I was going to be doing it until like 2 days before. And it was the biggest show of my life. It was 20,000 people in an arena, my first arena, which is awesome because I made a song in 2021 called Time Limits where I say selling out arena shows. And then now in 2023, I played my first arena. Obviously, it wasn't my show, but it was still a sold out arena show. So it's pretty crazy when you speak something into existence like that. But it was really cool. I was less nervous than I thought I was going to be. I was nervous at first at the beginning. I remember like backstage. But once I got on stage, and this kind of is usually how it goes for me, once I got on stage, the nerves go away. Like I feel nervous leading up to it, and when I'm backstage and like there's all this energy with nowhere to go, but once I get up there, it kind of just goes away. And I don't think the fact that it was an arena made me more nervous than another show that I was playing. I think I kind of just got into like muscle memory, and yeah,
You just kind of get into your zone, and then you're not worried about anything else.
Yeah. And did I see artists that I like to see? Got to see Nicki Minaj, got to see Flo Rida, Sabrina Carpenter, David Kushner, Ice Spice, NCT Dream, all those people.
Mm-hmm.
Personal favorites probably Sabrina Carpenter was my personal favorite.
Oh yeah.
I just have a crush on her. And her music is so good. And she's such a good performer too. Like she's an incredible performer, really inspiring to see. And just to be in and around like that A-list caliber of people was super inspiring. And shout out all the Atlanta fans from Jingle Ball, everyone who DM'd me. You guys were super nice crowd, and super sweet DMs.
Some funny DMs too.
Some funny DMs. A lot of people.
Atlanta fans, you guys are great.
Some people were like, "Come visit me at Suite 126," and I wish I would have. I didn't have as much time as I wanted to, but next time Atlanta, I'm gonna come back and do another show as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. How old were you when you had your first relationship?
How old was I?
You can answer first, then I'll answer.
I was 16 when I had my first relationship, and my first relationship didn't really last that long. I think it was from start to finish, like a month, maybe. Might have been a little bit less than a month, but I got into another relationship pretty soon after that, and that one was about 6 months. So I'd say, yeah, I was 16.
And how was that?
Which one? The quick one?
The first one. How was the first one?
The first one was, I mean, it was very, very short lasted, ended a little abruptly, and I was actually called boring. I was broken up with because I was told that I was too boring, and that kind of threw me for a loop because I've never been called boring before, and being broken up with after less than a month for being too boring really caught me by surprise. And I told that to my parents, and I told that to Sammy, and it kind of caught them by surprise too, because I've never thought of myself as a boring person. They've never thought of me as a boring person. So it's kind of, I just laugh at it now. I think it's so funny.
It's kind of a cool lesson there though. Like you could be the coolest person ever, but someone just might not be right for you. Like just because one person doesn't see your value, that doesn't determine your value. And I think a lot of people get insecure when somebody doesn't like them, but somebody not liking you doesn't mean that you are less of a person or you aren't as cool. What's the quote about the peach?
Oh yeah, you could be the juiciest, most good-looking peach on the tree, and some people just don't like peaches, and that's it.
Someone could be allergic to peaches.
Exactly. Someone could die if they eat peaches.
Even if it's the best one. So, But I think a lot of people get caught up in that, like with relationships specifically. If someone doesn't like them as much as they want them to, they're like, oh, something's wrong with me. But that's not the case. You just might not be right for that person, which is, I think, a good thing to remember. And I know it's hard in the moment when you think that they're perfect, but if they were perfect for you, they would appreciate you as you are.
Exactly. They would like peaches.
They would like peaches. My first relationship, I was in 8th grade. I had such a crush on this girl, and finally I got her. Like everybody had a crush on this girl. I remember I finally dated her for a little bit, but then it ended with me getting cheated on. And that was pretty traumatic for me, to be honest. Never talked to a girl since then.
He hasn't left the house. He just makes music. That's it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
100 bad days make 100 good stories, guys. And you can turn everything in the past into a laughing matter.
Nice segue here.
Would you date a fan?
I don't know. This whole thing is still new to me, so I think this whole music thing is a cool opportunity to meet people and make friends and maybe relationships. Who knows? I'm not opposed to it. Obviously, like it might be a weird dynamic if somebody was like a super fan and then we're dating, because then they wouldn't really like see me as a person so much. They would see me as like the idea of me. I remember actually we were on the tour bus. We were on the tour bus with Fits in the Tantrums, and shout out Rachel, the monitor tech for Fits in the Tantrums. She's worked with everybody. She's worked with Travis Scott and Britney Spears and Kanye and all these people. And so we would have nights on the bus, and we called it school, because after the shows we'd be on the bus going to the next place, and we'd be up late, and she would be giving me advice on this whole world and this whole career, because she's seen it all. She told me, Sam, you remember, these girls that you meet that seem like they're in love with you, they're not in love with you, they're in love with the idea of you. And that was really an interesting concept, because it's almost like you think that, okay, if you're in this position, you have people that are throwing themselves at you and you must be feeling like the man, but it's almost isolating in a different way, because they are obsessed with the concept and the idea of you, but they don't know you as a person. So they're telling you they love you, but you're like, you don't actually know who I am as a person. So it's an interesting thing. But to answer the question, I don't know. I don't have a hard and fast rule. I don't have a yes or no to that. It's up in the air.
Yeah, I think I would kind of criticize him if he said absolutely not. I would never date a fan, because that's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of potential wives and husbands that he'd be just crossing out of existence solely because of the fact that they like his music. If anything, that's kind of a green flag.
Yeah, I love when people or girls I talk to are a fan of my music. I actually, to answer the question, I wouldn't date anyone who wasn't a fan.
Mm-hmm. If they didn't like his music, that'd be
hard for me. If a girl I dated didn't like my music, I honestly think music taste is like a representation of who you are a little bit.
Definitely.
I think like a lot of times, if you have the same music taste as somebody, I think that's like a sign that you're kind of on the same vibe.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, I don't think I would date someone who didn't like his music.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, not even to boost his ego up a little bit. I mean, can't boost it up that high, but I'm still taller than him. I don't think I'd be able to date a person who doesn't like his music, because we work with each other and my job is to film him performing his music, and that's what probably takes up the most of my time. So if she isn't enjoying her time while I'm working, and she gets to come to concerts. So if she isn't enjoying her time there listening to the music, then it's just kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's get the next one rolling.
Who is the faster runner?
Kind of both of us, but neither of us at the same time. It depends on the distance. Sammy's always been more of a distance runner. He'll go out for runs and he'll go anywhere between 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 12 miles.
I did 6 this morning. 6 is my like sweet spot. 6 is like just my. I usually I won't do less than 6. But so I could probably beat Justin in like a 10K. But if it was like just a sprint down the street, he could probably win.
Sprint, there's no chance. Anything, I think a mile and below, I think I got him.
You think a whole mile you could beat me?
Oh, maybe we'll test. I feel like
we should test.
I feel like I could get you in a mile. But sprinting, yeah, there's no chance. And just like if we ran 12 miles, absolutely no chance he would run circles around me.
We should do that, a mile race.
Let's do it.
All right. Next question. What is the percentage that Justin will marry me? And this is from Cambria Cutright.
Who knows?
That's not a percentage.
74%.
That's pretty good, Cambria. You got a good shot.
What's been the best part about playing smaller venues on your own versus an arena / opening for a tour?
Dude, people would always tell me, I always heard like, it's more fun headlining for 200 people than opening for 10,000. And now having done both, having played the Jingle Ball for 20,000 people and having done my headline shows for anywhere from 100 to 300 people, I can confidently say that is so accurate. Like, opening is a different thing. Opening is like you have to win over the crowd, and that's a fun feeling too. and it's always fun feeling like you're getting new fans and winning people over. But headlining, the energy of those rooms, even with 200 people in them, is insane. Like I just remember specifically, this question was from Chloe, and she was at the Chicago show, and I just remember the feeling at that Chicago show backstage, the energy and the buzz of the crowd.
It was unbelievable.
Was insane. Like you could feel the energy, and the second I walked on stage, they knew every single word. Like when it's your own fans and they know every word, you're like, we're running into them during the day in the street and stuff. They were taking pictures. Like you just feel so much more appreciated and so much more. It's so validating when it's your own fans, because it's like these songs that I made in my garage have resonated with these people in places that I've never been before. Like Salt Lake City, for example, was my first ever sold out show. Mm-hmm. I'd never stepped foot in that place in my life. And the line was forming at 2 p.m. Doors opened at 8 p.m. People were there so early, and they were so loud. They knew every word. So the best part about playing smaller venues on my own is definitely just feeling the energy of the crowd and how passionate they are about it, and hearing everybody sing the lyrics is my favorite part of performing. Mm-hmm. Second favorite part though would just be getting to meet everybody. It's obviously way easier to meet 250 people than to meet 20,000 people. Even I remember after the Jingle Ball show, I tried to meet people. I went out to the side, but there was just so many people flooding by that it was difficult. I didn't know what exit to go to. Whereas when it's my show, I just say, I'm going to be by the merch booth if anyone wants to say what's up. And then I just stay by the merch booth until the venue kicks us out, which happens every single time.
Yeah, that happens more often than not, because this last tour, he was staying out an hour and a half. I think the Salt Lake City show, he was out there for maybe 2 hours after the show ended, just meeting all of the fans that wanted to wait. And they would happily wait in line because, they look up to him. They went to the concert just for him. And that's one of the reasons why he said that playing the smaller shows is better than playing the smaller shows as a headliner is better than opening for a bigger show, is because all of those people in the room came for you. If you're opening, yeah, that's really cool. You're getting a lot of exposure, and there's a chance that a lot of people there will like your music. But in that smaller venue, you know for a fact that every single one of those people either got in a car, had their parent drive them, rode their bike, took a plane, swam with a scuba tank on their back, for all we know, in order to get to that venue for you. And there's just something about that that's so special. Yeah, absolutely. And getting to meet you guys afterwards and like have the conversations and hear how the music has impacted your life, like that is a crazy feeling. Because I see the numbers and I see the virtual success, but nothing is as real as talking to somebody face to face and having them like cry, or having them be like, I remember one guy in LA specifically, he was like, I don't know how somebody your age, he was an older guy, and he was like, I don't know how somebody your age can give so much wisdom to somebody my age. Like, you've changed my life. I had a really hard year and you made it better. And I kind of had some tears in my eyes when he said that, because I don't see the impact day to day. Like, I just live my life day to day and I do my thing, but seeing the impact like that is another huge benefit of the smaller venues. Definitely. Did I ask the last one? You want to? Oh, wait. Okay. What do you do when you're bored? I record podcasts. I was going to answer this and say, I don't think I've been bored since like second grade. Yeah. Boredom isn't really something that comes very often. I mean, Sammy's always going hard doing music. I'm a full-time college student and I swim collegiately. So I'm either at practice or I'm doing homework. And I mean, yeah, we just don't get bored. We're always doing something. And if I have more than a few hours of free time to kill and I don't have any work and I don't have any practice or anything like I did today, I took a nap. It's just more sleep. And I mean, if there's like breaks that I take from studying, sometimes this is going to sound crazy, but if I don't want to burn out from doing homework or working or doing anything, then I'll take a 10-minute break, and sometimes I'll just stare at the wall above my desk, because that'll be so boring that going back and doing my work will be more stimulating to me. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think people get bored a lot because they are overstimulated. Definitely. Overstimulation is such a big problem. I think people are on their phones so often that and they're scrolling and they're on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and switching back and forth. And then when they have a second and they put their phones down and they're not getting stimulated by some content, then you might get bored and you might reach for the phone. But I think
There's always something productive to be doing. You could be reading. There's always something you can be doing to be bettering yourself in some way. And I think if you're getting bored, it's a sign that you could focus more on finding what you're passionate about.
Exactly. Just doom scrolling is such a big problem, to the point where Sammy doesn't scroll anymore. I mean, he has TikTok and Instagram and all these social media platforms. Besides Snapchat, he doesn't have Snapchat. He has all of these social media platforms in order to create, not consume. And even for me, I have Snapchat and I have Instagram, but I had Sammy set a limit. So I have 30 minutes combined on both of those. And once that's out, it's completely done for the day. Sometimes I'll accidentally leave my phone on, and I have it set to where the screen doesn't turn off. So sometimes I'll accidentally leave it on, and it'll be 11 a.m. and I go and grab my phone, and it'll say that the screen time is over. And I could complain. I could call Sammy and say, hey, like, that's not fair. But I just kind of take it at face value. I'm like, okay, just no phone today. And that's completely fine. It's like a dopamine detox.
What's it like to work with your siblings all the time?
It's way better than any other type of employment. I'm the type of guy that really does not like to be told what to do and when to do it, which would make it really, really hard to get a normal job, because it's just, I don't know, there's just something about people telling me what to do that makes me feel inferior to them. But working with Sammy is like, we're just kind of working with each other and not working under each other, which makes the dynamic so much more friendly. And the fact that I've known who he is as a person for so much longer, instead of just him as my boss in my person of employment, it makes it so much more comfortable. And a lot of the work that I do for him, I would want to be doing anyways. So it's not like he needs to be consistently reminding me and telling me that I need to be doing this, because the work is fulfilling on its own. So I would just want to be doing it anyways.
Right, like with the merch stuff, I remember before I even dropped merch, Justin was like, hey, whenever you make merch, like, I want to be a part of it. Because he had bought a lot of merch of like people he was fans of and stuff, and he wanted to make sure it was like quality. And so he was just happy to volunteer and be a part of that. Filming was more, I kind of like forced you at the beginning to film, but then you've like gotten so much better and gotten more passionate about it as you went. Is that accurate?
Yeah, not like forced, but it just wasn't really something that I'd ever dabbled in before. So it was kind of getting the ball rolling, and then now it's really fun for me. But on the topic of the merch thing, yeah, there's so many artists that I can name that their merch is completely out of their hands, and it's so clear because the quality and the customer control and just all aspects of it, it's just, for lack of better phrasing, it's terrible. And it just breaks my heart, because, you know, if you're a big artist, you want to be able to give good merchandise and good quality merchandise to the fans that are willing to pay money in order to have something that you created. So the fact that these big artists aren't putting a lot of time into it just because they want to mass produce it and really get it out there and have the biggest margin of profit possible, I would much rather have a less margin of profit and make sure that every single merch item is super high quality and fits our expectations, rather than having a big profit margin. Like the customer satisfaction is above everything for me.
Yeah, we've never looked at merch as like a big cash grab kind of thing. Merch has definitely been like quality first, and like the margin on merchandise is not that, the profit margin is not that big. Like we're not making a ton of profit from it, at least at this point. Obviously, as it scales, it will get better, but I think quality is the number one priority. I'd rather have high quality stuff people enjoy wearing than just trying to get every penny that we possibly can.
Exactly. And not only that, but we wear our own merch. We're not gonna want to wear low quality merch. It's just not comfortable. If the hoodie doesn't fit properly, or the hood doesn't pull all the way over the face, or it kind of grabs your face, it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, but overall, working with siblings, my answer to that, it's awesome. Like, I'm super grateful that I have a brother that is interested in this kind of stuff and can help out, because otherwise I'd have to go and find someone that would do it. And it's cool because, you know, like he said too, I know who he is, he knows who I am, and it's cool to grow with him and do stuff together. And yeah, it's awesome. I feel like you said too, it's less of a working for me and more of a working with me. And yeah, I'm super grateful to have him supporting me. And it's also, that's another reason why we wanted to start the podcast, because he does have such a hand in this whole thing. But now it's cool for people to get to know you, and for people to get to know who you are as a person, as opposed to just
staying behind
Sammy's
the scenes
brother
forever.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, just Sammy's brother, the dude that runs around with the gimbal getting the shots. Like, excuse me, pardon me, who's that giant in the back? That's me. I film.
Now, I will say part of me is worried because at the shows, Justin already does get an exorbitant amount of attention. And now that people are actually going to know who you are, hopefully they don't give you more attention.
A wise man once said, I'm addicted to attention.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Next question.
I was that wise man. Have you obtained a person in which you are dating? I have not obtained said person quite yet. You?
Said person has not entered into my life, and therefore I have remained on my lonesome.
We're very particular about our standards for relationships. We'll do a whole episode about this. We have a whole list.
We're picky, but being picky in the right way is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I think there's no need to settle for somebody who doesn't meet your expectations and what you want in a relationship. And also, we've talked about this before, and we'll go into this in another episode, but somebody could check the boxes, but you don't have the spark with them, or you could have a spark with somebody and they don't check all the boxes. So it's not that strict, but it's just kind of this guideline and framework that we have. So we don't have anybody that we're dating right now. And for me personally too, like, I'm so busy with my career that I probably wouldn't be like an A1 boyfriend right now. Not to say that if the love of my life walked into my life, I would reject her, but it's not my priority at this point in my life.
Exactly. We just have so much going on that if they were asking for a lot of our time, it just wouldn't be something that we could give. But like you said, if the love of our life walked into a room, she probably wouldn't be asking for a lot of our time because they'd be completely supportive of what we're doing, which is really good. But right now we're just overwhelmingly busy with just our lives, this podcast, music, recording for the music, college. The fact that I'm in school still is crazy to me. Because I was on tour with Sammy for a lot of my fall semester, and I also had swim going on, and I also was taking, I think, 9 academic classes or 9 classes in total, which is a lot. Either any one of those is a lot for one person, and that's what my parents were telling me. They're like, are you sure you could do all of this? Like, this is all. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So there's no reason that I should have ended the semester as well as I did, but at the same time, there's no reason that I shouldn't have ended the semester as well as I did, because I wouldn't have let myself, because getting bad grades is horrifying to me. But like, if you looked at it at face value, you're like, yeah, there's no way that someone would be able to retain all that information. And I would agree, but it is what it is. You just got to do it.
Somehow he balances all of it. But yeah, for the dating thing, somebody.
We were talking about dating.
Yeah, you went off on a little tangent there, but it's all
like
good.
Up and to the left a little bit.
But for the dating thing, yeah, somebody who we would probably be dating would have to kind of have their own thing going on, because then they would understand, because they'd be busy with their thing, so we'd be busy with our thing, and then we could kind of connect, and
exactly, they would get it.
They'd get it. So yeah, that's kind of the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one. This is pretty polarizing, because so you guys look so alike. Are you guys twins or just pretty close in age? So some people say we look super alike, and some people say we don't look alike at all. Here, you guys, what do you guys say? I think it depends on the lighting. Justin's a lot taller than I am. We're 2 years apart. I'm 21. He's 19.
Mm-hmm.
We're not twins at all. But yeah, so that's the answer.
I mean,
to that.
he's not that much shorter than me. He's like 5'11". I'm 6'3".
and a half. 5'11" and a half.
With shoes on.
With high heels on.
Mm-hmm. He just got a pair of Converses that have a 1-inch lift on them and thought I wouldn't notice.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No. Next question.
Yeah, no, he's still a good height, guys. 5'11" is a good height.
I'm 6 foot. Favorite place you've traveled to?
I would say that's a good question. I think I would say Greece.
Santorini,
definitely.
it might be okay. Well, here's the thing, because
It might be a 2-way tie for me.
Santorini was one of my favorite places, but I don't know if that's just because of the place or because it was such a good time with who we were with.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Greece, and it was a crazy time because we were in Italy, and we surprised our friends with a trip to Greece because they kept talking about Greece. And one day we were at dinner, just the two of us, and we were like, what if we just went? And so I think that whole like the whole event of like surprising them, and it was kind of like a gift trip to them, and that whole thing made it really fun and really cool. But if I'm just saying like place, I don't know. I think Santorini was like a crazy cool place, but I think my favorite place might be Barcelona. I feel like I could live in Barcelona.
Yeah, I think for the same reasons. That's why I think Santorini was unbelievable. But I also love Portugal. I went there last summer. I guess it's a new year now. I went there last summer for, I think, 6 days. Sammy and I were traveling together, and then we split apart. He went to Barcelona for 6 days. I went to Portugal. I was on the island of Madeira, however you say it. I was on that island. It's closer to Africa than it is Portugal, but it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to, and it was unbelievable. The people were so nice. The island was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There was so much to do, so much to see. It was just a great vibe. It was a great time.
All right, let's end it with this one. What's it like to be an amazing brother? And then he said, and what's it like to be Sammy Rash? So what's it like to be an amazing brother?
This is an interesting question because I can kind of tie this into a question that a lot of people ask me on tour at the merch booth. A lot of people come up to me. I'd sell them a hoodie. I'd sell them a hat, whatever it was. And they'd say, what's it like to be Sammy's brother? Like, what's it like to have Sammy as a brother? And I would always say, well, do you have any siblings? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, what's it like to be their brother? What's it like to be their sister? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm their brother, I'm their sister. I'm like, it's literally the same way with me. I am his brother. I knew him as my brother before I knew him as the artist. And that's how I see him. I don't see him as though he's on a pedestal. He'd have to be on the pedestal at least 5 inches for me to look up to him.
Come on, man.
But I see him as my brother. So that being said, what's it like to be Sammy Rash?
Every day I wake up and take a bath in gold. Then I don't know. It's awesome. I mean, I'm super grateful to be in this position. And I think the coolest thing of being in this position, just being able to wake up every day and do what I love to do and see the positive impact it has on other people. Like it's so beautiful. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, how like just the product of me doing what I love to do, the fact that benefits other people is just like, it's the coolest thing ever. It's the coolest feeling. And that's my favorite part about being me.
Yeah, it's the best job you could have, is the one that you can make a living off of making a positive impact on other people. You can't really ask for more.
And that's kind of our intention with this podcast too, is just kind of letting you guys know that we're just normal dudes, and this whole thing was just a product of consistency. And like we talked about in the last episode, I wasn't good at the beginning.
He was not. He was terrible.
He loves to remind you guys of that.
I remind people of that just to show that you don't have to be good in the beginning. You do not. Like I swim for college now. The first time I hit a pool, I sank. Like I literally sank. My parents, when I was a baby, they threw me in the deep end of a pool to see if I could swim. Sank right to the bottom. I didn't even try to keep myself afloat. I didn't try. There was no fight or flight. I sank to the bottom and just kind of accepted my fate.
What a crazy way to try to teach your kid to swim.
Yeah.
They just threw you in?
Thanks, Mom. Yeah, that's what she tells me. I mean, I was a toddler, so I don't really remember, but that's what they tell me.
Maybe you got permanent water brain damage. That wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Probably. But I mean, permanent water brain damage made me 6'3". So
maybe I need some permanent water brain damage.
Yeah, I'm going to toss him in a pool right after this.
All right, guys. Those are just the questions. I forgot to say who said a lot of the questions, but we'll do better next time. We're still getting the hang of this podcast thing. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.